you were never my father, and I don't want you in my life." The voice on the other end of the phone was icy and resolute. I held the phone, my fingers turning slightly white from gripping it too tightly, yet my gaze remained calm. This was humiliation, but also a beginning. She thought she could look down on me from above, but from today on, she would learn, those who have been trampled can also leave those who despise them completely helpless. "My name is John, 46 years old. 12 years ago, I married Lisa. At that time, my 2 sons, James, 13, and Alan, 8, and her daughter Emma, also 13, became one family. My ex-wife had passed away after years of battling cancer, and I thought I could give my children a complete family. Yet, I never expected that this new family would come with an emotional gap I could never quite bridge. From the very first day we met, I tried to make up for the childhood Emma had lost. I drove her to and from school, accompanied her to various extracurricular activities, tried to understand her interests, and gave her gifts, even something as small as a bookmark or a piece of chocolate she liked. I remember the first day she came to our home. I had set up a small room for her, with posters of her favorite bands on the walls and blue curtains she loved. Lisa laughed, calling me overly enthusiastic, but I didn't care, I just wanted her to feel at home. Yet, 12 years of effort were met with a single, cold sentence. 12 years of driving her around on weekends, 12 years of birthday gifts, 12 years of caring attention, all crumbled before the words, "You are not my father." That evening at dinner, Lisa sat at the table, frowning. "John, why do you always treat her like your own daughter? She's never considered you family." I put down my fork, looking her in the eye. "I don't care how she sees me. I just want to give her the best life. Even if she never acknowledges it, I want her to be happy." Lisa sighed and slid her phone toward me. She sent her wedding news. "Did you know? I just got it. She didn't even inform you." I stared at the screen, my fingers cold. Emma was getting married, and I was the last to know. 12 years of companionship reduced to exclusion. That weekend, I drove alone to the supermarket, preparing a cake and balloons to welcome her. I imagined her coming home, smiling at her, telling her how proud I was. But when I brought the cake into the house, Lisa answered her phone, frowning. She changed her plans at the last minute. She only wants me to go to her apartment. "You and the boys can't come." I stood in the empty kitchen, the cake tilting in my hands, frosting falling onto the floor. The air was sharp and cold, as if all my efforts had turned to dust in that instant. I remembered those past days. When Emma first came, my sons played nearby, and she would always hide in a corner of the room, hugging her knees, her gaze clearly resistant. I tried to make her laugh, bought her snacks, small gifts, but she always looked on coldly. I thought taking her to the park would help. When I saw her playing with other kids, I thought it was a breakthrough, but she ran away and gave me a dismissive look over her shoulder. At that moment, I felt a deep humiliation. I had tried so hard to love her, yet she treated me as if I were invisible. Every effort felt futile, every act of care silently rejected. I remember her high school graduation day. James invited Lisa to attend, but Emma only invited her biological mother. When I asked, "Why didn't you invite me?" she coldly replied, "I don't need you there." Her eyes stared straight ahead, as if I didn't exist. Those words cut through my heart like a knife. Yet, life went on. I paid her college tuition, just as I did for my own sons, never reducing a penny because of her indifference. When she got her first job, I secretly left a small card on her windowsill saying, "Good luck." She never responded. Now, she was getting married, and I hadn't even been invited. Lisa kept urging me, "John, you should pay. She's family." I smiled coldly. Family? She never acknowledged me. Why should I pay? Lisa's eyes filled with anger and disappointment as she turned and left the kitchen. I stood there, holding that small card, a chill spreading through me. 12 years of effort had gone to waste. I was no longer the always yielding stepfather. I realized that this time, I needed to set boundaries for myself. Late at night, I sat in my study, streetlights casting shadows on the floor. I began recalling every moment of the past 12 years, her rejection, her ignoring me at family gatherings, my care met with indifference. Each incident reminded me that my efforts had been trampled. At that moment, I silently swore, no matter how she rejected me, I could make those who once looked down on me see my presence and power. Morning sunlight streamed through the blinds, patchy light reminding me that every year of endured cold and humiliation had not been forgotten. The phone rang again, bank notification. I had started investing in real estate 10 years ago. When Lisa's ex-husband sold the house, leaving debts behind, I nearly faced financial ruin. During those years, I lived with the 2 boys and Emma in a small apartment for 2 years. She often complained, "Why is my room without curtains? Why does this place not feel like home?" Her gaze was cold, her tone sharp, as if every word reminded me I didn't belong in the family. I endured it. Waking at 5 every morning to drive my sons to school, taking care of her, coming home at night to manage bills and household chores. I remember one night when she was sick with a high fever, I drove her to the emergency room. She barely opened her eyes and coldly said, "Why are you always bothering me?" Holding her hand, I felt a mix of pain, anger, and helplessness. Life forced me to grow. I threw myself into work, climbing to regional manager at a multinational company. Those years, I poured nearly all my energy into my job. Promotion meant higher income, allowing me to buy a house for my family, provide the best education, and gain Lisa's respect. Yet Emma remained a wall of indifference. I remember her first true confrontation with me, when she was 15. She went on a school ski trip, and I offered to pay. All she said as she left was, "I'll pay myself." "You don't need to." I stood at the door, holding her gloves, humiliated. I wanted to care for her, yet she rejected my kindness. Day by day, I learned to contain my emotions, turning humiliation and indifference into motivation. Each slight became an opportunity to hone patience and resilience. My sons thrived, and I found that I didn't need Emma's approval to affirm my own value. Yet life never spared anyone. Lisa repeatedly urged me to give up on Emma. "She'll never like you. Stop torturing yourself." Every time, I silently vowed never to be underestimated or ignored. The feeling of being excluded taught me that true strength lies not in wealth or power, but in standing firm and having choice. I began accumulating more than just money, also knowledge, social capital, and influence. Through investments, I built a real estate portfolio. Through work, I expanded my network. Through managing the family, I honed conflict resolution skills. 12 years of being overlooked had sharpened me into an unignorable force. I remember one night when Emma hosted a party at home. I passed through the kitchen and heard her tell her friends, "My stepfather is a fool, always trying to control me, but I never consider him family." I coughed lightly at the doorway. She didn't turn. I didn't argue, just set down the tray and silently took note of every word. Important holidays were no different. For her 15th birthday, I prepared gifts and decorations, transforming the living room into a theme from her favorite movie, baking her favorite chocolate cake. She walked in, glanced around, and said, "You're being fake again." I felt a deep loneliness, but I didn't cry. I smiled, cleaned up, and handed her the cake. To the outside world, I seemed successful, a prosperous man, a happy family, 2 accomplished sons, stable real estate investments. But at home, I endured Emma's indifference, ridicule, and exclusion. It taught me the potential of measured revenge, not impulsive retaliation, but quietly precise, letting those who underestimate me witness my true strength. Years later, a major opportunity arose at work. The company was acquiring a tech startup. Through insight and connections, I facilitated the deal, earning a substantial bonus and further consolidating my status. I invested these funds into a family fund for the future. Lisa rejoiced, relying on me more, but Emma remained indifferent. Once at dinner, she sneered, "You think money can buy everything? You'll never buy my respect." I smiled slightly, setting down my knife. "I don't buy respect. I let it arise naturally." It was a belief cultivated over years, responding to contempt with competence rather than emotion. 12 years taught me. Being belittled and humiliated is not weakness but a chance to strengthen the will. Coldness and exclusion reveal true strength. Real revenge is not immediate venting, but accumulating power to strike precisely when opposition is powerless. Because of these experiences, I gained two abilities: financial control and strategic calm. Emma had once ignored my efforts, humiliated me publicly, but I knew time and power would shift the balance. One late night, sorting my study, reviewing years of investment contracts and family accounts, a thought struck me: Emma's wedding was near, and I had the opportunity to make her and everyone who underestimated me witness my true power. The cold thrill coursed through me. I was ready. I closed my notebook gently, a faint, almost imperceptible smile forming. 12 years of effort, patience, humiliation, and rejection would now see a response. I wasn't only teaching a lesson, I was affirming the value of persistence. "I thought you could control everything. You really think money and status matter to me?" Emma stood at the apartment door, wearing her usual haughty expression, clutching her wedding checklist as if declaring I had no right to intervene in her life. I smiled calmly. "I never control you. But I can let reality show that some things can never be ignored." Weeks prior, I had quietly arranged everything. I knew her wedding budget was tight and that she relied on Lisa and the planners. Using the network I had built over the years, I contacted the event company, suppliers, even some vendors originally booked. Every link was precisely set: flowers delayed, photographers cancelled, caterers raised prices unexpectedly, venue conflicts arose. Lisa panicked. "John, how could you? She's about to get married." I replied calmly, "This is reality. She taught me to accept facts, now she must face them herself." On the wedding day, Emma wore her gown, her smile stiff. Friends complained about the chaotic setup, poor catering, and even her parents and relatives felt helpless. She glared at me. "This can't be you, can it?" I nodded slightly. Reality is often harsher than imagined. Then came the accident. The luxury car she ordered broke down. The driver was late. She had to take a regular vehicle, arriving 15 minutes late. Guests whispered, the atmosphere dampened. What pleased me most was her reaction. I remained calm. She realized I was not the yielding stepfather she had dismissed. Reality showed her she had underestimated me. At dinner, she tried to recover. "This is all just accidents." I handed her a glass of champagne, smiling. "Accidents? Or the fruits you planted yourself?" She froze, terrified. She understood, underestimating someone trampled for years has consequences. After the banquet, most guests left, leaving her with a few. She came to me, voice shaking. "John, what have you done?" I replied calmly, "I just wanted to show you the consequences of belittling someone. 12 years of coldness and exclusion, you must now face it." Lisa ran over, crying, "John, enough. Don't torment her." I looked at her, tone gentle but firm. "I am not tormenting her. I am teaching her a lesson: never underestimate those who give selflessly." That night, I saw Emma tremble for the first time. Her pride and arrogance shattered. She could neither argue, explain, nor deny. I was not powerless. I was the one she had ignored for years, now fully in command. Days later, Emma came to my door, voice low and choked. "John. I'm sorry." I just nodded slightly, saying little. Past humiliation and indifference had taught me that forgiveness was not the goal, lessons were. She finally understood. The person she once despised had the power to leave her helpless. I returned to my study. The night outside was quiet. 12 years of effort, patience, humiliation, now answered. No grand celebration, no excessive revenge. Facts and competence spoke. At that moment, I realized, whether Emma accepted me as a father or not, I had already won, not just a lesson for her, but a vindication of my persistence. Once trampled, a person who rises cannot be underestimated. And she, for the first time, trembled, afraid, and speechless before me.